Thank you so much for joining me for this little intro lesson on arm balancing. We're going to go ahead and get started straight away, standing up. Rooting down through the feet, maybe taking the palms to face forwards, and with a big inhale we're going to reach the hands high, and as we exhale we're going to fold forwards, maybe tucking the chin, drawing a deep inhale in. We're going to lift the chest halfway, exhaling, planting the hands, stepping back through plank, pressing down through the hands here, reaching back through the heels, and with an exhale we're going to take the chest forwards and down, inhaling, lifting the chest, and as we exhale taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog, breathing deeply into the belly, and with the exhale we're going to land the knees, taking the hips back, lifting the chest, checking in with how everything's feeling, because we're going to go through that sequence another time, but this time we're going to take 3 rounds of chaturanga. So joining me, standing, breathing in deeply, rooting down through the feet, inhaling, reaching upwards, lifting out of the pelvic bowl, and as we exhale, folding forwards, tucking the chin, drawing a deep inhale in, lifting the chest halfway. As we exhale, we're going to plant the hands, stepping back into our plank, and we've got the option here to either drop the knees and lift the feet, or maybe just take a little moment to hang out in our plank, or with a big exhale we're going to take the chest forwards and down so that the elbows come to 90-degree angles, inhaling, coming all the way back up into our high plank, checking in with how everything's feeling, maybe taking a little roll of the wrists if that feels good. Otherwise, meeting back up in our plank, breathing in deeply, and with the exhale we're taking the chest forwards and down, finding those 90-degree angles, and then coming all the way back up into our high plank. And one last time, checking in with everything, breathing in deeply, pressing down through the hands, and with an exhale we're coming forwards and down, inhaling back and up, lowering the knees, sinking the hips back, maybe hanging out in your child's pose, or taking the hips over the knees. We're going to allow the chest to come down, sinking down into our puppy pose, maybe taking a little sway from side to side, but checking in with the shoulders, breathing deeply into the belly, allowing the chest to expand. And then with the inhale we're going to walk the hands back in, tucking the toes behind us, and with a big exhale sending the hips all the way up into our downward facing dog, taking a pedal of the legs if that feels good, or maybe bending the knees and lifting the heels. But with a big inhale we're going to sweep the left foot all the way up, exhaling, drawing the knee into the chest, pressing down through the hands, squeezing the abs, and then as we exhale we're going to land the left foot down. We're going to start with a little bit of balance work. So breathing in, maybe taking a little rock forwards and backwards, and eventually finding the place where we can balance with that right foot lifted, squeezing the glutes, extending the left leg, and maybe taking the hands off of the floor. And if we do, we want to draw the shoulder blades together, finding a nice straight back here, squeezing the right glutes, keeping that right foot lifted, taking one last deep inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to lower the hands, turning the feet to the right. And with an inhale, maybe seeing about lifting the right hand, turning the chest to the side, feeling all of the wobbles along the way, breathing deeply in through the belly, squeezing the right glutes and the right hips, all of the muscles to lift that right foot as high as it'll go. And then with the exhale, we're going to take the right hand back down to the floor, taking the foot down too. And from here, we're in our forward fold, right? Breathing deeply into the belly, we're going to bend the knees so that the chest rests on top of the thighs. And with a big inhale, we're going to sweep the hands high, drawing the tummy muscles in. So we're not poking the bum out, we're drawing everything in, reaching through the fingers, taking a deep inhale, lifting. And as we exhale, we're going to sink a little lower, breathing in, reaching through the fingers. With an exhale, we're going to sink all the way down, coming down so that the hips are just over the heels. And I'm going to take a little step back. I'm on a bit of an incline here, so this might be interesting, but we're going to move through 3 different variations of our crow pose. And the first variation is to take the forearms all the way down to the floor. So resting the forearms down, maybe parallel, maybe taking the hands together if that's a little bit more comfortable on the shoulders. But we're going to take the knees into the armpits, so taking the knees as high as they'll go, resting the forearms down, taking the weight forwards and lifting the toes behind, maybe taking the big toes to meet and keeping that face off the floor. So you've got to squeeze the abs to lift everything upwards. Our second variation is going to be starting in Amalasana squat and taking the arms in between the knees and placing the hands down on the floor. Just like we did at the very beginning when we take those chaturanga arms, where we take the chest forwards and down and make 90-degree angles with the elbows. We're going to do that here. So planting the hands down, maybe taking the chest forwards to start with, and as the legs start to lift, we're going to find those chaturanga arms and we're going to take the big toes to meet, breathing in, allowing everything to find that balance point. The further you lean forwards, the more the feet are going to lift at the back. Our last round of crow is going to be to take the hands down to the floor and the knees come up into the armpits, lifting the hips as high as they'll go, allowing the chest to come forwards, maybe taking one foot off the floor at a time and eventually coming to a place where the big toes meet. And we're going to use the fingers like brakes. So if you feel like you're toppling forwards, we're going to press the fingertips into the floor. And if you feel like you're going backwards, we're going to press the heel of the hand in. But taking one last deep inhale, wherever you found yourself. And with the exhale, we're going to plant both hands if they're not already down, stepping back through our plank, breathing in here, pressing down. With the exhale, we're going to lower as we inhale, lifting the chest. And as we exhale once again, taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. And this time we're going to lift the right foot all the way high and exhaling, taking the right foot in between the hands, taking that little rock forwards and backwards, allowing yourself to come to that place where everything settles with the back leg lifted, extending the right leg long and maybe keeping the fingertips on the floor, or maybe taking the hands to prayer. Maybe the hands come behind, but if we've got them off the floor, we want to squeeze the shoulder blades together to find a nice straight back. Breathing in here. I'm going to take a little shuffle back, and with the next exhale, we're going to take the right hand down to the floor, turning the left toes towards the left. And as we inhale, we're going to sweep the left hand high, turning the chest to the left, squeezing the left glutes, all the muscles in the hip to lift that left foot as high as it'll go. Breathing in, pressing the chest forwards. And then with the next exhale, we're going to land the left foot and the left hand coming through our forward fold, breathing in deeply, allowing the breath to recalibrate everything to settle. And with the next exhale, we're going to bend the knees so that the chest rests on the tops of the thighs. allowing everything to settle here. With a big inhale, we're going to sweep the chest and the arms high, but we're going to keep the hips low, reaching upwards, reaching through the fingers. With the exhale, we're going to sink the hips a little lower, taking the weight into the heels, breathing in deeply, exhaling a little lower, and then coming all the way down. And we're going to take those 3 rounds of crow once more, or maybe just taking the variation that felt best for you. So I like the one with the hands in between the thighs, taking the hands down to the floor, or maybe the forearms if you're going for baby crow. Taking the weight forwards, maybe lifting the feet, taking the big toes together, breathing in deeply, pressing down through the hands, finding that balance point. And then with the next exhale, we're going to land everything down, allowing everything to be soft. Breathing deeply in through the nose. And with the exhale, we're going to step back to plank, pressing down through the hands, protracting the shoulders, drawing a deep inhale in all the way down to the belly. Exhaling, we're going to lower. Inhaling, lifting the chest. And with the exhale, we're coming all the way back up into our downward facing dog, taking that pedal of the legs. And from here, we're going to see about walking the hands back towards the feet, coming through our forward fold at the very back of the mat, drawing a deep inhale inwards, exhaling, allowing the breath to tumble out through the mouth. And then bending the knees deeply, sinking the hips down. We've got one last little variation of our crow pose, and that's going to be our side crow. So I'm going to turn to the front for this one, taking the hands down towards the floor on one side. So I'm going to start with the right, and we want to keep our hands close. So the left tricep is coming behind the right knee, and the left or the right tricep is going to come behind the right hip. Slowly, slowly taking the weight forwards and allowing the legs to lift. And if we can allow the legs to lift, I'm just going to flip my hair out the way. Maybe eventually seeing about extending the legs long. And if we feel like we're going to face plant, remembering to point the fingers, pressing the fingertips all the way into the floor. And when we're coming back, we're going to press the heels into the floor. Taking one last deep inhale wherever you are, turning back to the front, stepping back through our plank, breathing in deeply. And with the exhale, once again, walking the hands all the way back towards the feet, drawing that deep inhale in and releasing a big exhale out through the mouth. With the next exhale, sinking the hips down. And we're going to take that again on the other side. Okay. So if I turn back to face you, and as before, because I'm on an incline, this might be a little bit interesting. I'm going to take my hands over to the left, keeping my right tricep behind the left knee and my left tricep so that my hip can rest on the back of that. Pressing the hands down, keeping them close. With an exhale, I'm going to take the chest forwards, seeing about allowing the feet to lift. And then maybe keeping the feet tucked in close, maybe extending the legs long if that felt good for you. Breathing in deeply. One more deep inhale here. And then with the exhale, we're going to land the feet, coming down onto the shins, taking the fingers together and rolling the wrists out. So allowing everything to relax and to soften, breathing deeply in through the belly. We're going to press the hands away, drawing a deep inhale in through the nose, filling the belly, and then taking the hands down towards the floor with the backs of the hands resting down. Breathing in deeply, you don't have to press down too hard. And then flipping the palms over with the fingers pointing back towards us. We're once again just going to allow the hips to rest down. and feeling a big stretch across the front of the wrist. And practicing often can help you to find that balance point, because eventually it becomes a little bit more about balance than it does about strength. So building up your shoulder strength with those chaturanga moves, because chaturanga arms is what's going to hold you solid in any arm balance, and then playing around with it, having fun, and I hope you really enjoyed this.